parent and the student and the corporates, they are also not helping. For example, simple summer training camp or simple summer trainees, they are coming to factories. Most of the parents, most of the students simply think that they just need a certificate. And that's the kind of demand which is being imposed by society, that's the demand being imposed by corporate, because corporates are also not bothered. Nobody is bothered about fulfilling any such, compulsion towards society. Nobody is working on that. Now, these are the things which are making our job more and more difficult. Being a passionate character for quality, I respect Dr. Juran, Dr. Deming, Philip Crosby. They had all come out with a concept called cost of poor quality or price of non-conformance. Right at that point of time, I happened to read one article on white-collar poor quality cost. And I personally feel that's more damaging. Imagine a senior person or a responsible citizen. If the quality of that citizen is bad, or MP or MLA or minister or collector or anybody for that matter, what's going to happen to the result, or what's going to happen to the chaos he is going to create? What Juran said, what cost of poor quality should include direct cost and implied cost. I personally feel cost of capital should include ownership. Cost of ownership sort of a concept. If he has been, professionally turned a well-educated person, we must also see what kind of results, what kind of decisions he is taking, and that's where the value system will play a very, very vital role. Because if a person is corrupted, parents have not nurtured those kind of values, patriotism is not there, then even if any kind of education is there, we will not be able to work. I'll come back to this integration part of it. What Japan did, when the World War took place and many people lost their houses, somebody was deaf, somebody was dumb, somebody was mentally retarded, and they realized this importance that look, 1 + 1 will always be more than 1. And this is exactly what they did. And I could see it in my 3 weeks stay in Japan. I went to Toyota factory, I went to Panasonic factory, I went to many other factories. Another interesting thing I want to share, this reminds me, there is a company called KYB, and I have visited that company. This company is one of the top 5 auto component manufacturing company in the world, supplying to Mercedes, Toyota, Nissan, and all those people. They've got 2 plants in Japan, and in both the plants put together, they've got only 17 engineers. Can you imagine? And when we asked them, they said that we started because the resource was not available. So all those school dropouts, 9th pass, 10th pass sort of students living beside that company were called, and they did such a wonderful job, and they are still with that company, that this company became one of the top 5 component manufacturing company in the world. I have visited this company and I met this executive director of this company. This fellow told me that if you come to my factory and if you want to have photograph of any nook and corner in my company, you are free to take that, because you will never be able to copy this software skill or our understanding about human being. And that's marvelous. I personally feel that's the real good example of human capital. We always say that people should be qualified, nurtured, and things like that. But there are people, there are corporates who have been able to do and deliver. And this is what I have seen. So having said about education, having said about integration, having said about the importance of human capital, let's come to the other side of the story. When people are employed, what happens after that? I'll quote a few lines. I am told that Ford, the promoter of Ford car company, on his grave, it is written, this is the grave of a person who was par excellent in finding out a person better than him. Now that's the skill corporate should have. That's the skill corporate should have to nurture those skills in long run. Another thing I remember in 95, 96, Panasonic's MD came to India. And in his interview, he said 3 things. Quality is my entry ticket to competitive world. Number 2, when changes outside are faster than changes inside, then the end is in sight. And third thing he said, if you are not making profit, you have no right to remain in business. You better give away all the resources back to society so that they could be utilized for a better job. After this statement, he paused for a while, and after that he said, wait, I want to tell one more thing. All this above is not possible unless I take care of my human capital. Just to witness this, I went to Panasonic factory in Japan. And I could really see those things happening there. The kind of development, the kind of work those people were doing in involving employees and developing employees was phenomenal. And that's heartening, actually, I must say that. We also have very good examples. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett always believes in recruiting a right person and nurturing him. He does not interfere in day-to-day working. J.R.D. Tata, when he handed over the baton to Sumant Mulgaonkar, he said, Sumant Mulgaonkar is more competent than me, and that's how he made Sumant Mulgaonkar the chairman. Now, that's the kind of eye in post-employment. After all, Sumant Mulgaonkar was also developed in Tata only. He has not learned everything. We all know when Mercedes-Benz people ditched telco, it was Mr. Mulgaonkar and Jagadhar who took the ship forward, and Tata is what today. That's how they were able to go. But this kind of eye probably JRD had. Now let's see what's happening in today's corporate world. Normally, IT apart, I have worked in engineering, auto industries, and process industries. Employee cost is generally 3 to 4% or 5 to 6% of the total sales value. But the entire focus of management always goes in cutting that cost. And so much of energy is being wasted, I fail to understand that. I had a lot of dispute with Mr. C.K. Birla once. Even with Mr. C.K. Birla, I had to tell, you give me just 80 manpower, against 300, I will be able to run the show. Right? But I don't think that it will work for a long time because attrition rate is going to be very, very high. And he also told me, you want quality job people? I said, yes. So are you saying that two fools will make one wise man? He asked me this question. But my own opinion is, you should always have visionaries, missionaries, and doers in organization. We require all three. But if you are not able to take care of your people, if you are not able to put them in a right slot, there will always be some negative people everywhere. Such people we should definitely wash your hands with. So post-employment, as we were talking, HR should have a policy, or the company should have HR policy. They should be able to identify performance, potential, versatility, motivation, and they should make sure that people look forward to coming to the next day. There are good reasons for coming to office. There are bad reasons for coming to office. So we should always generate those good reasons for coming to office. Potential assessment, performance assessment. Generally what happens is, the moment the appraisal comes, it is always linked with the increment. And I think that's the worst thing that any corporate can do. I am told that ITC don't recruit people at a senior level. Hats off to them. Because they have been able to nurture, they have been able to imbibe those values in people so that they can think always about the organization. The best example is Army. Even if people retire, they don't like to leave their name. They always like Colonel, Major before their name. That's the kind of commitment Army has been able to create among people. So my own feeling is that post-employment also the job does not end. Learning, learning is a continuous process. Every time you have to learn. Versatility creation, identifying need for specialist input, all those things are so vital, because otherwise you cannot link, HR cannot link business goals with people or their own role. I personally feel this is what I felt. A little bit I could learn. I don't know, conceptual skills my friends will be able to share better than me. With that, I'd like to take my seat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for explaining these different phases of human capital emerged in India.